Today, as we head back to the site, I am honestly filled with excitement. The last time we were here, the structure was just beginning to take shape, the big poles were finally in place, and I remember standing there imagining how it will all come together. Hi, my name is Serena. I do videos around cooking, farming, and homesteading in general. So we've just arrived at the site. As you can see, the roofing process has just begun. In the morning they had done the wall plate. Right now they are making the frame of the roof. And now we want to see what they're going to do. We'll keep you posted on how far they have reached mpaka jioni tutakuwa tumefika. So I found out that they already finished placing the wall plate. That's the timber that goes across the top of the posts, almost like a belt holding everything together before the actual roof can sit on top. It's a really important stage, and unfortunately, I missed it. But today, they've started nailing down the roof frames, the pieces that will form the skeleton of our Makuchi roof. And when I tell you it's coming together beautifully, I mean it. Now, being here and watching all this action, I started thinking about just how differently we build across Kenya. Every community has their own unique way, but they all make sense for where they live. Like the Kikuyu, they have traditionally used timber frames with thick mud walls and thatched roofs. Then you go to the Maasai. They build their manyatas from sticks, mud, and cow dung. Practical, cool inside, and perfect for their semi-arid climate. In the west, the Luo have round huts with conical grass thatched roofs, and those roofs are a whole art form. The Kamba, long low structures that keep the heat out. Coastal homes, like some Swahili ones, use coral stone and makuti for cooling. And honestly, I love how each structure reflects not just the environment, but also the culture and the rhythm of daily life in that place. It made me think, how do people choose what type of roof to go for? Is it the weather, the coast, maybe even just what your neighbors are doing? Sometimes you want your house to look like the others around you. Other times, you want to try something bold and different. Maybe go back to something more traditional or just more of you. In modern buildings, roofing comes in much later. After you've done the slab, raised the walls, everything has been measured and aligned. You also get wall plates in those buildings too, but they're usually cast in concrete. Same idea though, it's what supports the trusses and holds the roof structure in place. So back to my site. Watching the fundis move, climb, measure, and hammer, it's honestly fascinating. They don't even use a ladder sometimes. They just climb up the timber like it's nothing. And they are so flexible. We are not yet at the Makuti stage, but that's honestly the part I'm waiting for. I've always wanted to see it being done professionally. That neat, tight look that makes a Makuti roof last for years. I'll definitely bring you along for that because it's going to be so satisfying to watch. I didn't know how much work comes in when making the frames for the Makuti roof. I also didn't know how they fix all the poles up there, but today I'm witnessing all this happen. Here, they were fixing these poles. Once put together, is what will form something that looks like an A-frame. They put together two poles to make one, then make two more sets, so that when put together, it can form the shape A or V, depending on how you're looking at it. Now, it was time to carry the whole frame and put it up on the wall plate. These poles were so heavy and just needed skills on how to lift them. The mood at the site suddenly shifted. You could already see the hesitation. Each one was waiting for the other to take the lead. They were clearly not agreeing on the rhythm, and for a moment, It felt like they might just drop the whole thing out of frustration. They paused, took a breath, then tried again. This time, the pole lifted, just slightly, but then got stuck in the corner. The whole frame leaned dangerously on one side and nearly slid back down, but this guy held it down. You could see them thinking. I went ahead and helped hold the frame. Then they opted to use the ladder to help them lift the frame. This ladder, they had made it themselves earlier in the week. It's not your typical hardware store ladder. This one was crafted from leftover timber and a little bit of creativity. They carried it and it helped hold the frame as they looked for another solution. One side of the frame was finally up. The guy on top quickly got to work. He pulled out the binding wire and started tying down the pole tightly to the wall plate. You could hear the wire twisting as he worked. Then he hammered in a few long nails to lock it all in. No fancy power tools, just muscle, skill, and that signature Fundi precision. He shuffled across to the other side, still balancing up there like a cat, and then struggled through the whole same process until the whole frame was up. Then they repeated the same steps, binding wire, nails, a few quick taps of the hammer, and it was done. That first major frame stood proud, finally in place, and everyone let out a breath of relief. But of course, no rest yet. There were more frames to go. There was an additional small pole that was added, connecting the big frame to the wall plate. This was to help support its weight and keep it steady. There was also another small pole that the Fundis added, not exactly in the middle, just a bit off to the side. It wasn't placed to carry any weight, but more to help pull the big frame into the right position. You know how sometimes from the ground, things look fine, but once you're up there, you realize it's leaning just a little. This pole acted like a guide, pulling the whole frame straight so that once they fix it, it will sit perfectly aligned on the wall plate. It's one of those clever little tricks that just shows you how much skill and experience these guys bring to the site. Without wasting time, they went straight to the second frame. You could tell they'd found their groove now. This time, they coordinated the lift a little bit better. There was less shouting and more teamwork. It wasn't smooth sailing, but at least now there was a plan. They raised it slowly, using the same handmade ladder for support, and just like before, one Fundi climbed up, tied it down, hammered it in, and made sure everything was balanced. At this point, I just stood back and took it all in. The frame of the house was finally starting to take shape, and even though we were a bit short-handed and the tools were few, these guys were making it happen. I couldn't stop smiling. It was messy, loud, full of small hiccups, but wow, it was real, and it was ours. We have come from digging holes to termite treatment to fitting poles. We are slowly building something special, and every stage reminds me just how much skill and patience this process takes. So if you're planning to build, whether modern or traditional, just know there is beauty in understanding how things work. And if you're just here for the journey, thank you for working with us. Can't wait to share with you what's next. Bye. We shall try again tomorrow.